Hey everyone, David Chen here. A movie I directed a while ago called The Primary Instinct is playing at a film festival in Los Angeles at the Road Theater, so I decided to come down to LA to check out the festival and watch my movie play in a theater. Before we hit the road, I wanted to explain a little bit more backstory about this movie. Stephen Tobolowsky, you may know him. He is a legendary character actor who's appeared in films like Groundhog Day and Memento and hundreds of other movies and TV shows. He also happens to be an excellent storyteller. He had a movie called Stephen Tobolowsky's Birthday Party where he told stories that was really well done. And so one day I decided to call him and do what I've done to many people, which is offer to make a podcast with them. And at the time, Stephen was in a really bad state. He had broken his neck in 5 places. He was out of work. He wasn't sure if he'd work again. So he said, yes, why not agree to what this Dave Chen random stranger guy is saying? I have nothing better to do. What do I have to lose? So we made this podcast, The Tobolowsky Files, together. It lasted about 100 episodes. You can get all 100 episodes on Apple Podcasts or wherever you get your podcasts. The podcast actually spawned 2 books from Simon & Schuster, plus we decided to make this movie, The Primary Instinct, together. So it was actually a very meaningful part of both of our lives. And as a result, we've become friends, and he has this back house in his backyard, which is where I'm staying, and that's usually where I stay when I come to LA. So we're gonna hang out for a little bit and go check out the movie at the festival. Come with us. Thank you so much for welcoming me in and letting me stay with you and
David Chen.
being a part of your lives.
To David
It
Chen.
means so much to us. You have no idea.
I thought I would ask you before we get to the movie theater, what does The Primary Instinct mean to you?
The movie?
Yeah.
To be truthful, it means a lot of our friendship. It means so much of what you gave me when I was, I had all sorts of physical trouble and broken, all that stuff when we did the podcast, and it felt like it was a natural culmination. The idea of filming this show was a delight to me, and that I thought we would have a record of what that time was that we spent doing this. So for me, it's a historical record of our friendship.
All right. Thank you for sharing. I'm looking forward to seeing how people react to it.
This area over here is when Ann and I first moved here to this area. This is where we always took Robert when he was a little baby. They used to have a little coffee shop here. We used to get cappuccinos, and he wanted a coffee too, a cappuccino. And so we always got him a big cup of warm milk, and he would like pretend to drink the cappuccino with us. This guy's gonna step out into traffic. Let's go.
I went to this restaurant today called Muffin Can Stop Us.
Muffin Can Stop Us. Very clever play on words.
Have you been to it's like really close to your house?
No, I have to go.
And I got a blueberry muffin, and it was one of the worst blueberry muffins I've ever had.
Well, Muffin would, maybe Muffin will stop.
It did, is what I'm saying, is like, it's disappointing that this...
You can't have the name Muffin and not have a great muffin.
It needs to be unassailable. It needs to be unassailable, and it wasn't.
They should change their name to Airport Food Muffin.
All right, we are here inside the Road Theater, and people are filing in, and it's very exciting. We'll check in after the movie.
Tonight we have Stephen Tobolowsky. So if you could, please come back, especially the people that have never been here before. The idea of this was to cross-pollinate and to bring people to the theater that have never come here to see a play. They come for the film, but they find out about our theater. And we're really grateful for you to be here tonight and just enjoy the film.
There'll be a short talk back after.
It's a journey. It takes you from one place to another. And you are changed by that journey. And the important thing is the listener has to be changed too. That way, the story holds up a mirror to our lives. It's kind of eyes that we weren't born with.
Filmmakers from the horror movie, and obviously Stephen Tobolowsky.
Stephen Tobolowsky.
David Chen, director of Primary Instinct.
How close, and maybe this is also good for you, David, how close is the film that you guys finished to what you set out to do? David, can you answer that question?
Yeah, I mean, I think the challenge is obviously Stephen is a master storyteller, right? And how do you capture that on film? And the film went through like multiple different iterations of like, maybe it's just him telling stories to the camera. Maybe we try to reenact the stories and so on. But I think ultimately the reaction with the audience is like such a special connection. And that's why we decided to go in this route with like having it just be kind of more straightforward concert film. Mm-hmm. So,
and how did the two of you come together to make this project?
Stephen had made a film called Stephen Tobolowsky's Birthday Party, which is it's a film that features him telling stories about his life. And I remember it had a funny trailer where he like goes around at Sundance, I think it was, asking people if they know who Stephen Tobolowsky is. It's like him doing it though. And I remember, I had and still have a movie podcast, and like somebody in a chat room mentioning, "Hey, like, did you ever see that movie Stephen Tobolowsky's Birthday Party?" So I decided to order a DVD of the movie, and the director of the movie shipped that movie to me. Like, they shipped the DVD to me, and when I ordered it, I was talking with the director on the phone, and he said, "Oh, I bet Stephen would love to talk with you, like, on the podcast." So we had Stephen on the podcast, and Stephen's stories were dazzling and rich and full of meaning and humor. And so then I proposed to Stephen, "Hey, would you ever want to do a podcast where you tell your stories like kind of in a longer format?" And then we did that for several years, and then we're like, "Hey, let's try and film one of these live." And so that's how that came about. But at the time, when I first pitched it to him, Stephen, your neck had been broken at that point. So he was like, you were sleeping upright, if I recall correctly, right?
If you ever have a broken neck, the first thing they tell you is you have to stay vertical until the neck heals. You can't go back or you start to die. So you wedge yourself into a corner so you don't keel over. It was terrible, but it was.
Basically, what I'm saying is he was available at the time.
It was a terrible thing because the doctor told me I had a fatal injury, is what they said, and I'm saying, "The doctor, words have meaning, and fatal means I'm dead." And he said, "Well, let me tell you why you're alive, because you have an abnormal neck." Everybody has a curve in their cervical spine like this. And what happened to Christopher Reeve, it was like this. He had the same fall and it just snapped his neck. Your neck is the opposite of a normal human being. It's backwards. And so when you got hit, it broke all the bones in your neck, and the central bone was a burst fracture, which is terrible. But you still have a spinal cord. You're still okay. So I was feeling so blessed and vulnerable at the same time, and then I get this phone call. And I'm thinking like, what is this magic happening? This person that I don't really know from Seattle is saying, do you want to work on stories? And so I thought, I'm good. Hell yeah. There's nothing I can do other than this. And so I started like trying to put stories down into some kind of shape or form, true stories that we could film, that David could film. And then, Simon & Schuster said, can we do books of your stories? And so I ended up doing 2 books of stories with Simon & Schuster. So like the phone call from David, I felt like saved my life. I felt like it was like a miracle. No, truthfully.
All right, we are back at the house. We just watched the movie at the Road Theater Film Festival. So, Stephen, how do you think that went?
I think it was very successful. I mean, for a house that holds 70 people, something like that, I think everybody really enjoyed it.
Yeah, it's really special to watch the movie in a theater with an audience.
Yeah.
And they were like really reactive. They were laughing. They were crying.
They were thinking. They
yeah.
were thinking through the film too,
Yeah.
which you have to do kind of. So that was great.
That's one of the things I love most about movies is you can make it, and then people can discover it years later and have the same reaction as the people who discovered it when it first was released. And that's one of the things that I think makes movies really special. But it was really a very special night to be able to watch the movie with all the people in the audience. And it's just cool to see a movie you made in a theater, basically.
Yeah, and we did it. I mean, who does that? Who says, let's make a movie, and then you make a movie and there's a movie? It was kind of like a miracle that we did that. And we were in that beautiful theater in Seattle. We had people come to the theater.
Yeah.
It was a miracle happening. It was great.
I'll just say one last thing about it. Is at the very end of the movie, we have a list of all these Kickstarter backers that helped to make the movie possible, which is really cool to see. And what's super cool is that a lot of those people are still supporting me today, and still patrons of my various Patreons and so on. And that was just very nice that people have been with me supporting us for many, many years. And so I'm just very, very grateful for that.
Yeah, and I'm grateful to you, especially, because in a way you were the driver of this whole train. Everything was your idea and everything, or suggestion, but you had the knowledge and the impetus to kind of make it happen. And we're both kind of stubborn that way, which is good, that we wanted to do something that actually happened, and we did that. So I'm proud of that.
Indeed. All right, man. Good stuff.
Good stuff.
Good stuff.